The case was between Mahadi bin Mohameddiah as plaintiff and Ibrahim Isa, chief editor Harian Metro, the New Straits Times Press as defendant. The suit by plaintiff is for defamation against the defendant due to an article being published in News Daily. Plaintiff claimed that the content of the article can be counted as defamation of himself and claimed for damages. The statement in the article were believed by the plaintiff that it was being referred to him. The defendant claimed that the article does not able to refer the plaintiff or even recognize that it is him for defamation. Term Pak Ungku that was mentioned is unknown and readers are not able to identify the plaintiff. Even if it can be known or being referred to the plaintiff, it is still the case of public interest. The defendant had argued that they already acted responsibly and reasonably in the publication. Facts of the case. According to the plaintiff, the person that was being mentioned in the article was clearly being referred to him. The argument of the plaintiff claim is that the words presented in the article were defamatory of the plaintiff since it contained and were capable of carrying the imputations and meanings alleged of himself. The defendants claim that the allegations does not refer to and is not capable to refer at plaintiff. The word Pak Ungku itself is insufficient to identify the identity of the plaintiff or allowing readers and public to identify him as the person in the article. Even if it is revealed that the article objected of refers to plaintiff, it was published due to the case was counted. Defendant assert that they act appropriately and properly in their publication. The issue of the case was one whether the article referred to the plaintiff to be identified and cause defamation, and second one is whether the subject matter that was mentioned in the article is a public interest and whether the defendants act fairly and responsibly in publishing it, and the last one is if the article is capable of referring to the plaintiff in such a way that the cause of action in defamation is proved. Did defendants get covered by the defense of qualified privilege? To clarify what a plaintiff must prove in order to establish a cause of action in defamation and to succeed in defamation lawsuit, the plaintiff must show three main elements. 1. The statement is defamatory. 2. The statement must refer to plaintiff. 3. There must be publication. Identification is the main question that arose for resolution in this case. The standard procedure for identifying the individual alleged defame is based on the premise of case Nuffer vs. London Express newspaper. Plaintiff defamation case was based on the name Pak Ungku, which he said was regularly used in the area. Plaintiff had failed the issue of identification. The claim does not need to be investigated further. The evidence must be sufficiently reliable and believable to support a claim. If plaintiff is found guilty for defamation, qualified privilege is a defense that can be made in the alternative. The idea of qualified privilege has been established in major judgments such as case Adam vs. Watt. Even where an article is clearly a defamatory and contains significant insinuation, if it is in public interest, this defense applies. For the qualified privilege, there was no question that the issue regarding the basic right of persons to their properties was a matter of public interest. Defendant had a duty and obligation to report public concern, and in this instance, accusation harmed the right to land shelter. Ibrahim Isa was only relying information from a responsible party, namely the head of resident committee. He had not relied on any information or assertion from unknown sources. My own critical comment is that I do think that plaintiff had failed to show the essential elements of defamation in order to win in this claim. Even if the evidence is deemed credible and adequate, the defendants were successful in using the protection given by the defense of qualified privilege because they behaved fairly and responsibly in writing the article. But Pak Ungku is not the name of a certain person. As a result, without additional information, the phrase could only refer to an unknown individual. I agree with the defense argument that an objective construction would not lead a reader to conclude that plaintiff was the person referred to. Regarding the issue of the qualified privilege, the article itself was true, with no attempt to exaggerate the situation beyond normal boundaries. The article was severe, but individual real name involved is not mentioned. I agree with the defense contention that the article must be considered in conjunction with all other important details and related facts to decide whether the defendants operated within the bounds of responsible journalism. It is apparent and unarguable that defendants had a duty and responsibility to disclose public concern.